I don't have enough schooling to put that into words. It's one of those opportunities that you dream of as a kid. I've said it before that I wish it was alternating years so that I could cheer for the Blues one year and they could win a cup, and we could have our opportunity the following year and they could cheer me on and I could win a cup and we could all have one to our names. But it's come to this. It's a binary choice. It's them or us. And you know what? There was some feelings the night that the Blues eliminated the Sharks, and I knew it was going to happen in this final. There were a lot of thoughts going through my head of, you know, my friends that I'm glad they have the opportunity. Just I hope and I'm prepared to not make it beneficial at my expense. So we're focused in on what we're doing in the Boston Bruins locker room, and we're gonna put our friendships aside and any good feelings until after this thing's done.
Are you cutting off texting with friends now? There's been some debate about, are you corresponding with them?
Friends on the St. Louis Blues are now cut off officially. Yeah, they're if they text me, it's going to fall on deaf ears, and if they get a text back, it might be from my daughter, and we'll be very incoherent.
David, there's been a lot of former teammates who become opponents and then play each other. There's always stories written about that. But this one with Alex, you know, the wedding story, you passing the C off to him, it just seems a lot more unique. Can you talk about how special this is?
I'd say it's unfortunately special that one of us is going to have to lose and one of us is going to win, because you wish nothing but the best for your friends in all times. This time, though, I think that's going to have to take a little bit of a backseat and an exception, because we do have a great friendship. You know, we've shared a lot of great memories, able to pass off the C to him, and proud of what he's done with the St. Louis Blues this year, and from a last place team around the turn of the year to now a Stanley Cup final it's not by accident. There's a lot of hard work that goes into that, and they deserve a ton of credit for that. But you know, this is all about us right now and what we're doing in Boston, and hate to ruin a good ending, but that's our goal.
And when we called, he said that every time he called you, he had questions about what to do or how to wear the C. He said you answered every time. What was it like helping somebody navigate through, you know, a guy who's on a different team, and then now you go head to head?
I think it's a different team, yes. And when he'd call, obviously somebody I care about, someone that when I was a captain in St. Louis, he was kind of my right-hand man and the first guy in line and step with me of what the goals were, what the next objective was going to be, and he never wavered from that. So to try to pay that forward and, you know, give him advice on the other side was a no-brainer for me. Sorry, the second part of your question was?
Now you're head to head, so you kind of helped him get through it, and now here he is.
Yeah, and I think the other part is that St. Louis, and being there for 10 years, and from when I got there, we were dead last in the league with the first overall pick and not doing too well, to a team that could contend. I feel like the last 5 years of my time there that we were a potential Stanley Cup finalist, I thought, each of the years. We ran into a few hot, Chicago teams or LA teams that were winning cups on a regular that didn't allow us to reach that goal, but we had some really good teams. So I don't feel like I wanted to abandon that. So any advice I could give to him or time I could spend with him that would be able to continue that work that I believe that I had some fingerprints on, I wanted to continue that, no question.
You talked about the emotions that come along playing in the series against the Blues especially, but how will you kind of harness those emotions and focus on the task at hand?
Yeah, I'm very grateful that it's not my first year out of there, because I'm not going to lie, my first time back in St. Louis, I think I was numb with emotions of going around seeing security guards I hadn't seen all year, or people in town, everyone saying good luck, or the bellman at the hotel we're staying at, the bus driver. All those guys are, so great that it was like, man, this is a place that's really touched me in my life. And my wife and I grew up there. We had our first daughter there. From 22 to 32, you have a lot of growth as a human. So there's definitely, as I feel, I made a little bit of an impression on the city. The city is something that made huge impressions on us. So thankfully it's not that first year going back there. So I've been able to be back there a couple more times and kind of get those warm and fuzzy feelings out of my system. Not that they're gone, but they're just not as, experienced the first time as they would have been if this was the first year back. So I think they're the opponent now. I need to think of them as such, and this layoff after they eliminated the Sharks, having 6 days to kind of wrap my head around that and say, okay, this is it's on, and it's us or them. That's really helped me to see them as an opponent rather than as maybe a warm fuzzy story.
How many wedding parties were you in on the other side? How many guys' wedding parties?
Just one that's currently on the team. Yeah, just Petro.
Yeah, just Alex.
Yes.
Hey David, do you text with David Freeze? I know you're friends with him.
Occasionally, we did a Bible study in St. Louis for a little while together as well, and he's a good man. Yes.
I'm curious if he's reached out to you since the Cup final.
He hasn't. He's kind of a homer for the St. Louis crowd. So if he texts me, it'd probably be derogatory and with some jabs in there. So I appreciate him withholding that for the short term.
Place there still?
I do not. I've sold
So
it.
you're not going to settle there?
We may settle there when it's all said and done, but hopefully that's a few years down the road. Those connections and those friendships that you have there, they don't travel around with you, and just a place that we really enjoyed living there.
Can you describe what you need to do to win the Stanley Cup with you and your line?
I got the easy smartass answer on tap, but I'll forego that to just yes. I think a simplified, hard-working line that's very high-skilled from David Krejci and Jake DeBrusk. If I can provide hard work and forecheck and separate guys from pucks, get in on defensemen, Jake's speed and Krejci's playmaking ability and ability to see the ice, we can be a very effective line. I think if we put work first, you'll see those skill elements really show themselves, and if we try to get cute, especially against a team that doesn't take a shift off, doesn't take a moment off, we're going to have our work cut out for us. So that's kind of the mindset at the moment. Kretsch has been a little under the weather for the scrimmage and then practice yesterday, so hopefully he'll have full batteries. He was at home and resting up, and he'll practice today, look great, so put him right back into action, and he'll be well rested like the rest of us.
I didn't want to read too much. Over there that wants to ask you a question.
Uh-oh. Dog's got a question?
Just put your hand out. Thank you.
Thank you. You sit. 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 Hi, my name is Sonny, and I'm a Stanley Pup correspondent. Cowboy, my teammate at the Guide Dog Foundation, is a very messy boy. Who is your messiest teammate? He's actually he's one of my line mates as well, Jake DeBrusk. I don't know what the guy does. I think he grew up in a barn, and he might be part cattle with how he just makes messes everywhere and doesn't clean them up, but you know what, teach their own, and he'll be just fine. First time that's ever happened. Appreciate that.
You came from a position of leadership, obviously, in this office. When you came here and you saw sort of the core that have been here, been together since 2004, what impressed you about that group, what they've been able to bring?
I think their blue collar work ethic, still with all the success that they've had. Bergie, Marsh, Z, they've won a cup. They've had success on the international level. I don't want to give them all legendary status. I think Z's probably gotten that. Bergie could probably hear that without getting a big head. Marshy will withhold that until he's probably done playing, so he doesn't think more of himself than he already does. But I just think Kretsch, Tukes, all those guys. I don't know what I was expecting, but the way that they continue to desire and outwork their opponents really impressed me, and I thought with that fire still burning in them after all the success they've had, this is a special group and something we can build on, and I could feel that in my first maybe 10 days here, preseason, after the World Cup, those guys showing up the next day when they weren't supposed to report for many days to come. You sort of see that sort of work ethic right away.
You've been in this city for a few years now. You saw the Red Sox and Patriots both win titles. Now you guys are kind of in the center of attention. What's that feeling like?
I think they were able to display kind of what was in store for us if we ever reached this sort of stage, with all the attention, all the hoopla around town about what's going on in the sports world. So thanks to those guys for kind of paving the way and showing what was to be expected, and now hopefully following their footsteps of hanging in for a championship. This city doesn't accept just making it to the finals. I remember after the Super Bowl loss the year before this year, last year, I guess, the town, wasn't as congratulatory as I thought for a Super Bowl finishing team. It was Super Bowl trophy or bust, and to me that was a real expectation setter. And you love those sorts of expectations because it puts everyone on notice that this is about winning and this is about getting a job done, and anything less is not going to be accepted.
David, you're not trading text with any of the Blues, but your wives are. Your wife and Alex's wife. How tough has it been for them?
I think they got the groundwork set for their relationships, I think, when St. Louis was still playing San Jose, so it was a little bit more easy transition, but they've exchanged text to, I think, see what's going on with each team and how things are being run. Outside of that, I don't want to know about it, and they can make whatever wagers or friendly bets or whatever needs to happen between the two of them. But that's part of, another part of the great part of this game is that you grow friendships. The wives grow friendships. When they had triplets and some issues with pregnancies before that, my wife was supporting Janie in tons of different ways, and now all of a sudden they got 3 kids at once. I don't know, you wish that on anyone, but after the issues they had getting pregnant, staying pregnant, now all of a sudden they got a big blessing all at once, and 3 amazing kids that they've got a great mom and dad to help raise them.
David, you guys are 6-2 on the road in these playoffs. Can you talk about the challenge it's going to be to win in St. Louis?
Yeah, I mean, an event in St. Louis that hasn't happened in 49 years. They've been to plenty of World Series, championships. They've got 11 banners out in the stands in Busch Stadium, and they've had that sort of. And I always imagined that the Stanley Cup Finals, when we made it to the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference Finals against San Jose, the buzz in town was extraordinary. If we would have made that next step, I don't know what happens. The roof might blow off of, I guess, the Enterprise Center now that it's changed names again. But that the town embraces and loves their hockey team, and to have a team that's gotten to this stage. I haven't been in the city, but I've heard that it's absolutely nuts with hockey love, and heard a radio station played the Gloria song for 24 hours. I don't know how their ratings went all day, but good for them for their dedication.
David, is there any part of you that's a little bummed about that?
Monday and Wednesday night, the ones that are coming in.
I don't know if they need a message. They might have a message for us. The Boston fans are well versed on what to do in the playoffs and what to do in championships games, and they'll bring it, give us the energy that we need. The crazy environment that the TD Garden becomes, a crazy environment around town, and we'll get the job done on the ice while they cheer us on and give us that extra energy that we need.